today I want to talk about a couple of things here. Some autograph requests that came in for those people who still enjoy watching those. Kind of interesting, I have head of the class here, and it's been a growing, I'll say growing pains for all of the collecting communities, whether it's vinyl records or it's sports cards in general. The sports card collecting community has been growing pains. And essentially, head of the class was a story TV show about the smart kids that thought they knew everything because they had all the correct answers, but they had like social anxieties and things like that. And we're running into a lot of the misfits, but you know the people in the groups of the hobbies and things are just like, you know, they're just clashing, you know, because of one thing or another. Whether it's because in the groups people see like the bigger dealers and vendors and the bigger numbers, they're getting all special perks and things from Tops or whatever, and then they're getting the better boxes, and then everybody's just filtering in and getting the leftovers. And the same thing with the vinyl record people. There are some people that are, you know, kind of in the industry essentially, but they're also making videos as collectors, and you know, and so they're getting special perks in some, you know, capacity, whether it's, you know, free tickets or stickers or, you know, records to review, and they get to keep them after they're done, sort of thing. And it's making a lot of people that feel kind of very, you know, whatever, you know, because there are some people that, like, it was kind of interesting because one guy in the record groups was getting a bunch of he does like 45s essentially, and a lot of people knew that, and they were sending him all kinds of swag. So some people get like a crazy amount of swag sent to them. I say swag, but you know what I mean. They just get, you know, interesting stuff sent to them because those are the people that, you know, enjoy it, and they have a well presented set of videos there. And then other people is like, why am I not getting such, you know, amount of stuff? And then somebody said, are you offended now that somebody's sending all this stuff to this guy now instead of you, and stuff like that. So it's really hard to like send care packages to every single person and make them all individually, you know, equal. You know, I won't be sending lots of care packages to you know, Canada or Japan right now. It's kind of expensive to do so. And my buddies in Canada, the ones that I watched, aren't making a crazy lot of videos right now. But I wanted to show you these autograph requests before I forget. I have essentially misplaced all the envelopes. We always like to, if I can remember to, start off with the failures. I have two of them, the one I think I showed in the last video, so we don't need to do that one there. But Ed Doherty is supposed to go to Pennsylvania and not Florida, so I've got a fresh address there if possible. So we'll get that one sent out one of these days here, golfer Ed Doherty. But we've got one of one from Lauren Roberts. He does not have a lot of cards for whatever reason here. If I look at the stats on the back here, I'm trying to figure out how many games and whatever he has done. But some of these cards, it says in 2000, Roberts continued his mastery at the Greater Milwaukee Open, taking that for his only PGA Tour win of the year. Previously had won tournament in 96 and finished second in 94 and 97. Well, if you know anything about golf cards, there were virtually no sets in the mid-90s. That 92 set from Pro Set finished off, and a lot of golfers that were kind of, you know, names, they didn't get cards. And so Lauren Roberts has very few cards because the later mid to late 90s was devoid of cards. So it was a 5-year hiatus or something like that. Then we have a NASCAR request here from Wally Dallenbach, and that was a set build card. I never did finish off the set because the LCS, somebody had sold him a set of the Commons, more or less, and the Semi-Stars. And so I was buying them. I must have been paying 25 cents to 50 cents a card back then. That's a lot of money to pay for these cards, but that's what I was doing. And I don't remember how I got a bunch of these, so I don't really remember if I eventually bought the whole thing or what happened. And then I got some in another lot. So, but I never have finished that set. I'm missing probably 15 or 20 cards from that set. And that's a lot, because if you're having to pay $1 per card, you know, and then we've got these really horrid looking cards from the 90s. So then another Wally Dallenbach doing the STP thing here. Oh, and I forgot to mention they blocked out the Budweiser on there. But I saw, it says Budweiser Chevrolet right there. So Budweiser does not use a blank red hat there. So there's that one there. We saw this one here. and then a fairly similar one without his name on here. Without, it just says STP. So I just wanted to get those done because this is a relatively easy to put together set here. I think I bought the entire set. And I'm still missing a few cards. They just got misplaced or accidentally donated, and then there's some that never came back. And then we have a 202 from Steve Stricker. I just couldn't finding any more. I couldn't find any more cards, I think, is what happened. So I just wanted to say, you know what, I'll just do the two here. The Victory March and the Tour Time card here. I think both of these are from like 2001 or something like that. I likened him to the Jeff Burton of golf because even though Jeff Burton's a name, but he's not comes up in the conversation. He's like no Jeff Gordon or Dale Earnhardt or whatever. Actually, Jeff might have been one more than Dale Earnhardt Jr. I'm not really sure there. And then we've got but unlike Jeff, Steve Stricker is an excellent signer and very quick at that. Jeff Burton is my PC and he doesn't sign, but I was able to get early on some more than likely properly signed cards of his. I think one was certified and then the other two were just like in person. I want to say because I got one of the old LCS and the guy said that the guy that sold him to him, he's a reputable guy. And then the other one matched up perfectly, so I think he signs in person a lot, but he just doesn't sign through the mail for whatever reason. But you can write Ward at numerous addresses and get his autograph, Ward Burton. So the other thing that I have here is that I've got a autograph den order that's floating somewhere in Indiana right now, and it's gone like 2 months. So May is already gone when I probably ordered it sometime early May, and then June is halfway through, so it'll probably be here at the end of June. So autograph den stuff is taking its sweet time like COMC. The difference is you can basically put an order together for $0 practically. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm basically 100 cards and averaging around 10 cents a piece or something like that. Crazy. Because there were some cards that cost 1 cent. There were some cards that cost 3 to 5 cents, some cost 15 to 35 cents, and some of them were buy it now cards that are $1 a piece with some sort of discount attached to that. And 99% of them are all soccer cards. And I thought it would be fun to have my cards show up during World Cup time because a bunch of them are World Cup cards, but unfortunately that's not going to probably happen. I would have liked to watch more World Cup, but I didn't get into it, and I can't catch all the, I can't go and watch all the highlights and lowlights and stuff like that. I did watch a couple of the earlier games, which were quite fun. There's unfortunately a bunch of politics around the World Cup this year, but there is some positive that came out of here because a lot of people were expecting to have a bad time in the United States, and maybe it was a little bit expensive, but a lot of people realized the United States was a really cool place to be, and it is, provided we don't wreck it. We got a lot of neat resources and things going on, a lot of cool stuff here, and people didn't realize that, how amazing some of these cities with like the flowers and the trees and rivers and creeks and everything, and all the Boston vibe and everything, and the whole Knicks thing and stuff like that. Everybody is all just like on Planet 9 or something like, or Seventh Planet, or they're all on Cloud 9. I mean, not Planet 9. Planet 9 from outer space is a different thing. So that's really cool. But I have no other hobby goals or treasures or whatever right now. Again, with a lot of people, they're trying to refocus and figure out their collection, because what happened is that the cards got expensive, and now they want to take their other cards to get those other cards, and then they also realize they've ran out of room, or they don't have the right kind of things. It just, that's an ever-changing thing in all the different groups and hobbies here. I've been purging myself, but most of this purge, unfortunately, is just like saying goodbye to these cards. Not even getting a penny for it. I've got some down at the end of the driveway in a pile of stuff that I marked for free because I don't want to see those cards anymore. I could theoretically try to shop them around somewhere and say, would you take X amount for the entire box? And then people would probably say, well, I got plenty of that stuff. I could take it to the card shop and they might give me $5 for the box, but that's no good because there could be 1,000 cards in there. And there's lots of dollar cards in there. So they could theoretically get, depending on, but what I've learned is that people only want flippable cards right now. These are not flippable cards. You can't flip those. I mean, I suppose I could put these Steve Strickers on eBay and sell them for $3 each, free shipping. And the same thing with the Dallenbachs and the Roberts and stuff like that. And they might eventually sell because I have a small group of people on YouTube that would probably see those and want to have those instead of having to, go through the motions to buy a card. Because a card is going to cost at least $1 to $2, and then the postage, I said, might as well buy it for $3. But I'm not selling those. So I've purged a bunch of DVDs, and I went to this rummage sale, and even though they were like 5 cents, I bought only one. I wanted to see Jack Black and Gulliver's Travels. I think I remember that movie from a long time ago, and I think I may have enjoyed that. I just don't really remember. And I might go back tomorrow because the deals were so cheap, and it was just so crazy and crowded. I spent a whopping $2.55 for a bunch of clothes, because they were supposed to be 50 cents, I think, and then some of the people at the front there were charging only a quarter. It just depended. Maybe I just look like a nice person because there was a bunch of clothing flippers there, and there was a lot of, I want to say good stuff, but think of it this way. When I went to this rummage sale, and that's why it's so popular, because people are only willing to spend $1 on clothing, 50 cents or $1. Tons of stuff was just being passed, just tons of stuff. Basically it was based on size or whatever. So I went to my size section, which is of course the medium section there. Sometimes I'll fit in a couple of large items, but I went to the medium section. Everybody went to the large, and the people that are looking for clothes in larger sizes to flip. And I had that whole section to myself for a while. And then some people are looking for other types of, eventually floated in there, and it was hammered pretty good. And the t-shirts, are virtually non-existent because most of them were for like church camp and like high school things and volleyball and stuff like that. And if you really wanted to be part of the community, those are the kind of things that you would like to wear, because people just think you're, from there, or obviously you wouldn't want to be walking into this rummage sale because of the church rummage sale and be wearing a shirt that belongs to that particular church. Oh, are you a member? No, I got it at your rummage sale for $1, a quarter, or whatever it was, 50 cents. So that'd be kind of weird. But if you're traveling overseas, those would be the perfect shirts to wear if they were from that particular country. Then nobody would have any questions of you being, not there. As a tourist, you wouldn't look like a tourist, because you'd have the local stuff on there, from some sort of local event. It's just kind of a little side note that I learned from some comedians. Like, hey, if you want to go traveling overseas, wear shirts from Canada. They wouldn't bother you as much, It's pretty funny there. So that was it. Like I said, I might go back. I just got lots on my plate right now, so I can't really make a crazy ton of videos here. I'm trying to think of anything else I cannot want to forget here. As far as this particular golf set, that is never going to be finished. That's why I don't really work on this set here, because these are still current golfers, whether they're in the still in the PGA or in the Champions PGA type of thing there. I don't send a lot of those because they do take a little bit longer at times, and I just don't want to bother these people because, again, sometimes I just can't get these things sent out. And also, Tiger Woods and some of these other John Daly's and type of thing, that's just impossible to get. I feel weird, writing to people that I just can't get, and just there's got to be an end point. And I mentioned in several videos I might be getting towards my end point unless I start over a whole new project and start writing to people. I do have, intentions of making more card video eventually, but it just kind of gotten to the point where I have to kind of take a break a little bit. Guys, I'm not really taking a break, but I guess basically to sum it up here, COMC and Autograph Den forced a break on me, if that makes sense. Because we got so tired of the complaining about stuff there, but then we also got people, stuck with cards that they can't get, ship times, so when I don't have cards coming for 2 months, I basically want those cards to get here before I start, making a crazy bunch of purchases, because as much as I love to go back to Autograph Den, I want my cards now, and then I don't want to be like 2 months later not care. Because I don't want to be doing 2 months down the road. I know what I'm doing now, or today, or tomorrow, but I don't know what I'll be doing 2 months from now. And it's like, oh, these cards show up, big whoop, because now I have to save pages. I've got a whole slew of pages that I've saved open for those cards that are not here yet. So that's just, and I really wanted to use those pages, but I can't because I've got 100 cards from Autographed In, and that will hopefully fill all of them, and my binder will be exploding, and then I'll have to get another binder. Sad but true, and that's what happens. So that's what I have for today, just checking in with these cards here, and thank you for watching.